currently driving very fast down a mountain because I just accidentally snuck into a national monument. How the fuck do you accidentally do that? I don't know. Let me tell you. Okay, so the first thing that went wrong here. There was like this little turn off as you're driving up the mountain. There's like this little turn off, and you're supposed to go and like pay to use the road. Like if you're gonna park in their parking lot, you're supposed to pay, right? And I'm like, oh, I didn't see that soon enough. I knew that I was going to Mount Timpanogos. Like I knew that I was gonna park there and blah blah blah. And but there was this other street, like it just because like to pay just like sectioned off a little bit, but I just continued on the other street. And it was like a through street, so like no parking, and I just was like, oh, I just missed I was just too late to get in over and pay. And so I'm like, well, it's probably fine, like it's whatever. So I get to the parking lot, I park, I have some lunch, I talk to some people, they're admiring my lifestyle, and then I am like, okay, well, let's start this hike. Like if you ever hike this, it's hard, okay? It's hard. And some people try to hike it 100 times for who knows why. Okay, but so I'm like, yeah, let's like walk up. And so I see these people like stopping at this booth before they enter the trail. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's just like some informational desk or some shit, right? And so I'm like, okay, that doesn't matter. It's whatever. But then I just stopped by because they had a fake snake in like a little cage or whatever, and I was just talking to the person. I was like, oh, that's cool, like blah 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 blah. And then not even intentionally I sneak past that desk. It wasn't just an informational thing. They're supposed to scan your tickets that you bought online. I didn't buy no tickets. No tickets were bought by my hand, okay? And so I just timed it just right, not intentionally. I timed it just right, where two people were switching shifts. So essentially, the other person that just barely got on shift thought that the other person scanned my ticket. And then the other person thought that the new person that was taking over their shift was gonna scan my ticket. So both of them thought the other one was doing it because they were switching shifts, and no tickets were scanned, okay? So, I'm walking up and I'm reading like the little trail signs that it's got. It's got like some cute little like, oh, here's some fun little facts, blah, 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 blah. And then it says something like, you'll need your ticket for the top, or like it says something about a ticket, or like go to the place that online that you bought the ticket. And I was like what ticket? Like that doesn't. So then I like hike up the entire thing, right? It takes me about an hour. That shit is steep, okay? Steep. And so like I'm shredded right now. I'm on fire, dude. I had oat milk for lunch, got some peanut butter protein. Like I'm so muscles I could squash watermelon, okay? And so from walking up and down. And so I get up there, and then the ranger asked me, he's like, so are you doing the tour? And I was like, a tour? Yeah, like tours are great. Like you learn new facts. I'm like, sure, like, yeah. He's like, okay, like if you guys are ready, like I'll scan your tickets right now. And I'm like, scan our tickets? Like scan our tickets? And so, these houses are gorgeous. And so, I am like, oh, yeah. And then the other chick, she was like, oh, like, I just got a screenshot of it. Here it is, scan it. And so I'm like pretending to look through my like deleted pictures. And I'm like, oh, like, oh, it's not here. That's silly me. Like, that's so quirky. It's not here. Because, okay, listen, I had already come too far to just say, like, oh, I didn't buy a ticket. At that point, I knew. I snuck in. And I was like... At that point, I knew, okay? And so, I was like, oh, I reset my phone trying to get service, right? Like, I just need to tell my parents where I am. Like, I reset my phone and must have deleted it or whatever. And then the guy was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like, we'll just say that, like, we tried really hard to scan it and it didn't work. And I was like, okay. Thanks. So, I get in there, and it's like a bomb-ass tour, okay? We got Mac. He, like, everybody in the park says he's the best. Like, everybody's like, if you got Mac, you said, like, it's like, that's the best tour guide you could get. He, like, shows us a bunch of stuff that's not in the normal tour. And, like, because he was saying, like, oh, I only show this to, like, groups of 2 or, like, small tours, because just, like, you know, a lot of people gets, like, really routed, and, like, he's got this grandpa voice, it's like a narrator, especially in the cave, it's, like, booming, and so, like, it's, like, a mad awesome tour, and I'm, like, whoa, and I see, like, all of these different land formations, and, like, all of this really cool shit, and, like, the entire time as we're walking through, I'm, like, someone's gonna radio in that they don't know, that I wasn't here, like, someone's gonna radio in, like, they know, because they have a list, and they know who signs up for what tour. We see all the really cool science-y stuff, and get, like, all of the descriptions, and, like, really cool stuff, and then, we get out of the end, and, you know, like, there's a place where you can go and, like, sign your name in, like, the little book, and I was like, I can't let them trace it back to me. Okay, now you may be thinking in your head, you're like, Liz, like, this is, like, whatever, like, it was just a hike, like, I bet it'd be super easy to sneak into. No! You have to buy a ticket, scan it at the beginning of the hike, and at the end of the hike. They have radio, walkie-talkie things, and they know if, like, because one dude, he just ran up there, and he just, like, ran past the people, and they saw him, so they radioed up to the end of the hike, and they're like, yo, some dude's coming, like, don't let him into the caves, like, don't give him a free hike. So communication is very, yes, there, and so, like, you can be thinking, like, Liz, like, this is what, like, psh, whatever, like, you're, like, you're dumb, like, you're dumb, okay, no! I accidentally snuck past and got into a national monument. At 2 different checkpoints. So I signed the little book, and I tell everyone my name's Liz, and so my fake name, you ever see this, like, this is my fake name, I'll use it for anything, like, fake, is Eliza Banks, instead of Elizabeth Bates, it's Eliza Banks, and so, like, Eliza, you know, that can be, like, that's an easy connection, Eliza and Liz, right, and so, like, they definitely don't think I'm lying about that, because, like I said, my name's Liz, before I knew that I was gonna be lying, right? And that's just super easy. Like, it's just a good. And so the entire hike down, I am freaking out that they radioed down to the bottom, that they, like, found out, and they, like, radioed down to the bottom, and they're like, hey, like, keep an eye out for this chick, like, just make sure that, like, you know, she's gotta pay before she leaves, and, like, well, I'm such a cheapskate. At this point, I was like, I just gotta make it to the end without paying. I can do this. I can do this. So I'm running down the hill. I'm running. I'm sprinting. My ankles and everything's pain. I'm going past people left and right, and, like, they're like, whoa, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be that person on the trail. They're like, I'm better than you. But, like, I am, because I got into here for free. So, and now I need to escape, you know? So I, like, make it, like, I get down keep in mind, it took me an hour to hike this thing, right? I time it. I got down in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Okay? 15 minutes. So I make an A-line straight to the car. But before I do that, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, people are going to see me down there like it's going to be a really bad thing. And so I see this guy like slowly walking around the little visitor center. He's wearing all black. And I'm like, oh no, it's the cops. Why would it be the cops? I don't know. Okay? My brain, it does the imagination shit. And it just does. It does. Okay? It does. And so I'm like, you know. And so then I like make an A-line to my van and I like just run out of there. And like, then as the other way, before I walked all the way back down, I was talking to a park ranger and I was like, this is a really cool job. Like, how do you even start this? Like, this is really cool. Like, I'm kind of like interested. She's like, oh yeah, like if you want to give me your like email and like I can look over your resume. I'm like, oh, I'm not giving you that personal information. No. I'm just like, he, like, oh, that's, yeah, like, all, like, well, so, like, I just don't think right now is, like, a good time for me to have this job, like, giggle me shimbers, right, and so back to the cop, I get back down there, and I'm about to, like, piss my pants, and, like, I get all the way down there, it's just this guy, like, walking around slow, being weird. So I get in my car and I drive away, and now that's where I'm at, and in this really nice neighborhood houses. I just think it's so funny. I talk to people all the time, like, I sneak into movie theaters. I haven't paid for a movie in 2 years, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I sneak into dances, high school dances. I just snuck into, like, 3 college events in the span of 1 week, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so good at this. Like, I'm so good that it's worrisome. I'm so good that I accidentally sneak into things. Accidentally. Essentially, the point of me telling you this story is that if you ever need, like, you know, like you've got, you know, and you're just like, hey, here's a college party. I didn't get a wristband. I wasn't invited. Hit me up. You know where to find me.